Hey, Bruce. I'm sure glad you're here.
What are you doing? You know, we've got this camping trip coming up, and we haven't done any planning yet. We need to get that thing planned out, don't we?
Well, that's actually what I'm sitting here doing, but so far the only planning I've done is made sure I had my marshmallows and stuff for s'mores.
Well, as good as that is, we also need to have the rest of the plan, right? Because after all, planning is the first step in no trace ethics, right?
It is, and it's really important. It makes or breaks a trip, and we want it to be safe for the kids too. So I was thinking about taking Trail 508 and Dolly Sods on Rurball Plains because there's some really good overlooks here. So we can park one vehicle here at the mouth of Rurball and take this hike. And once we get to this brim of the canyon, there's some really cool overlooks here. As a matter of fact, you can look across the canyon and see Lion's Head from this point. And then on out the way until we meet up with Fisher Spring Run. And then we'll take Trail 510, Fisher Spring Run, which is a little steep. And there's some switchbacks and we cross the creek. So once we reach Red Creek, we'll be able to take Red Creek Trail. Here in this area, there are fire rings right next to water. So we should be able to set up camp here based on what the literature says. And we can build that fire, roast those marshmallows, and once it's time for us to extinguish our fire, we can take water from Red Creek to do it. And then on our second day after we break camp, we'll hike on down Red Creek until we meet the junction of Forest Road 19, and we'll have staged one of the vehicles here to provide us transportation back up Forest Road 19 to the mouth of the trail.
So let's see, let me just remember here, we're doing a weekend, so we have just 1 night, 2 days, 1 night, correct?
That's right. And we also know that with the packs on kids, something like this, we can do about a half a mile an hour. So that's kind of important too. And when I flip the map over from Dolly Sods, and this comes from the Army Corps of Engineers, so good stuff. To take a look at what I found. There's unexploded ordnance on Dolly Sods too.
Yeah, ordnance, so those are explosives.
In World War II, they blowed Dolly Sods to pieces practicing for World War II. And now they've cleared the trails and they've gone through everything and made sure it's safe for all of us. But we have to make sure to stay on the trails and only use the fire rings that have been used. It is a safe area. We have to be aware of that. And I think anywhere we would go, we would have to make sure we understood the location of what might be in our path.
Right.
That's part of planning.
Another part of planning is making sure we have provisions for food and water. We're going to pack our food in, but how about water?
Well, I think on this particular trip, if this is the circuit we want to use, there's several opportunities for us to take water on, but I don't think we should be carrying all of our water for the entire trip.
Yeah, we're going to be going by some creeks that we can take. We'll have our filters.
Yes, we definitely need to pack filters.
And we can filter our own water, pull out these creeks, and save a lot of weight in our packs that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, that half mile an hour may turn into 1/3 mile an hour. Nobody wants to carry us up that way.
It'll be dark before we get to the campsite.
Yeah, that could also be bad. Yeah, we need to make sure to pack our lights. Now let's see. We're planning this trip for here in October, and I was checking the weather, and right now in Dolly Sods, nighttime temperatures are around the 40s. So we're definitely going to need to make sure we pack tents, and we're going to need to make sure we pack sleeping bags that are rated for that.
Cold weather sleeping bags, yeah.
And make sure the kids have several layers of clothes.
Right.
There are some fire rings here that have already been used, and there's water nearby where we can extinguish our fires. So I think this would be a really good place for us to cook food over a fire.
Right. All right, Mike, I like our plan. I think that'll be a really good hike. Have some good views. Should have a lot of fun down in there around the creek. So let's plan the other things we need to take to make sure that everybody's prepared. So I've got this GPS unit that's kind of nice, kind of tells you where you are on a trail. What do you think about that? Do you think we should take that?
I love that, and I think that's a great backup, but there's things now, Bruce, that are even beyond that. I now have an app on my phone.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, seriously. And it shows us exactly where we are at any given time. I just have to download the map in case we run out of service somewhere along the way. I'll take this.
Okay.
You take that. And I know we don't want to add a lot of weight to our pack, but let's go ahead and bring some old technology just in case the batteries go dead.
The compass, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always good things to have. All right, so other things we need to take, since this is a backpacking trip and we don't have access to cold storage, we need to take some dehydrated food and some snacks that we can eat on the trail overnight. And then we'll need maybe some water to start with until we get to that first creek, right?
So I agree. And what we found is that when a pack exceeds 30 pounds, it just isn't fun anymore.
Right.
That 30 pounds after the course of a few hours starts to feel more like 130 pounds.
And then we'll need to make sure somebody has a striker or a lighter to light our little stove to heat up some water for that dehydrated food, or if we're going to decide to build a fire.
Wood smoke's great on marshmallows, but not so much on my cookware. I'll pack a gas stove.
Good thinking. This one here, I don't know if you have one or not, but these are pretty handy little gas stoves we can use just to heat up water for the dehydrated food. And of course, we need everybody needs a good sleeping bag. We talked about that already. It needs to be a good cold weather sleeping bag. We need a good lightweight tent, not a 16-person tent, but a backpacker tent preferably, or a small one, right?
Yes.
And then maybe a sleeping pad, something like this. This is really lightweight, easy to add to the pack, but can add some comfort to this accordion type foam pad, right?
It also provides a little bit of insulation against you and the ground.
Well, Mike, in addition to all the things we've talked about, of course, we need personal items. I mean, that would include, a spoon, something to eat with, or a fork. It would include toothbrush, right? Probably toilet paper, maybe a lightweight shovel or spade or something to dig a hole for the toilet issue, right?
Yeah.
And then what else? Clothes. We need to make sure we have plenty of clothes.
Clothes.
Always like to have a change of socks, because there's nothing worse than walking around in wet feet, right?
I agree. And then if you think about Crocs or maybe some other type of sandal for the camp, it gives your shoes a rest too.
Yeah.
So I do like to pack a pair of lightweight Crocs, something that I have a strap around the back that I can wear at camp to let my feet rest.
Or for a creek crossing.
Well, absolutely. Which we've got.
Yeah. And then I guess maybe the last thing I can think of that we got to make sure we have is a first aid kit.
Absolutely.
So when I was
prepared to use it.
That's right.
I'll pack that.
Okay, very good. The first step of no trace ethics, and that's plan ahead and prepare. We've got our trip planned. What's next?
Well, step 2 of no trace ethics is to make sure that we're hiking on durable surfaces and camping on durable surfaces. So perhaps we ought to head up State Hollow here at Jackson's Mill. Let's take a look at what that looks like and set up a tent.
Sounds good. So make sure you tune in next time when we talk about the next step of no trace ethics, which is to minimize the impact of where we camp and where we hike. Come on, Mike, let's go.
I've got some things to pack up, Bruce. I'm right behind you.